My name is Marosha Khan Afridi, and I'm the founder of Purple Cyber Fusion. It is an academy that is built on one core belief, which is the future of security isn't red or blue, it's really purple. So, Purple Cyber Fusion, just to give you a background, was created to bridge the gap between offensive security and defensive security throughout the education. And really, we are giving hands on training and a lot of community work. We train the next generation of security professionals and not just how to attack, but also how to defend yourself. But we do that both very intelligently and increasingly that means working with really AI, artificial intelligence. And in today's session, I have built specifically for the education center, for the education sector and the security professionals. And we'll work with the presentation and you'll see what is purple teaming is and how we are going to cover three big ideas today. AI as an attacker, how really artificial intelligence can simulate realistic threats, AI as an analyst, how it helps defenders to close detection gaps in future, and how AI as subscribe. So how well the documentation should be and how everything should fall into place. Now, let's start with the problem that we have. The problem, red and blue teams are at this point of time really living in a very different world. So before I tell you what purple teaming is, I want you to understand why it has really to exist. So if you look at one side, it's red team. Red team are basically the attackers. They simulate adversary behavior and they find vulnerabilities. They really operate in secrecy because they don't want to tell how they're working, right? And when the exercise is done, they just write up the report and hand it over to the blue team. Their work is done. And on the other hand side, we have blue team, which are really the defenders. And they are the one that are monitoring. They are the one that's detecting and they are the one who are responding. But the problem here is the work is reactive. So they don't know what the red team is doing until and after it is really done. So the detection gap is really going unnoticed over there until something real breaks in. And that's right in the middle, the silo, the gap that we have, which is really a wall. So what is the result of the wall? A lot of missed detections, right? There are a lot of repetitive vulnerabilities that are showing up year after year. So any vulnerability that you have seen in 2020, it's repeating each year. And there's zero shared learning experience between the two teams that are supposed to be protecting our organization. So this isn't really the people problem here. It's really the structure problem. And in the education sector that we have to really focus on, where security teams are often very small, and of course the budgets are very lean. However, the stakes are very high. This structure is catastrophic. So the problem is two teams working in silos. And now let's talk about how and what is the solution to this. So the solution to this is really purple teaming. Purple teaming is a very simple concept that we all need to understand, but it's a very, very powerful practice. It's a structured collaboration between your red team and your blue team, which is where an attacker and attacking and defending is happening simultaneously, and findings are really shared in real time. So now let's break into three things that make purple teaming so different. First, it's a real-time feedback. So in traditional red team that we discussed, the exercise happened, the blue team later finds out after months of the exercise that they have a PDF report. But in this purple teaming, the attackers are really sharing their tactics that they're executing with them live in real time. So the defenders are tuning their detections on the fly, and this feedback is a loop, working in a loop basically. So red team is attacking, blue team is looking into it, and both teams are sharing the knowledge and the detections that they need to get updated. Then we have shared objective. Both team have the same goal. So the goal of red team is not to destroy your system. It's basically improve your organization security posture, right? And this is exactly what the defenders are doing, and this is exactly what the red teamers are doing. So red team and blue team have the shared goal. Why don't we work together as a purple team to achieve that goal? The third is measurable outcomes. Purple teaming really turns what used to be very subjective exercise into really hard matrices. For example, your detection rates. You have always read about mean time to detect. Now you can actually measure it. Are you looking into your coverage gaps? These are really the numbers that you can identify through this purple teaming exercise. And this is the foundation to how this should work. And now let's talk why and how AI is now entering this whole picture. And trust me, with AI, everything gets more exciting. So when I talk about AI in Purple Team, I'm not talking about some futuristic concept anymore. Now, in this world of AI, when I'm saying AI, these are the tools that we can really use right now. So we don't have to buy some products. We just have we just need to have our own laptop, computer. That's it. So the tools, Claude, ChatGPT, all the open source framework, these are all playing some distinct roles here. So the role number one is AI as an attacker. Now, AI, as you all know, can generate realistic attacks. And let's say AI can generate some realistic phishing lures that are really tailored according to your specific environment. It can simulate adversary tactics, techniques, and procedure. We say it as TTP. So that's tactics, techniques, and procedure. And based on this MITRE attack framework, as I've mentioned on my slides, maybe you can just take this back to your once you start working, figure out what is MITRE attack framework, how the TTPs there can really help you to see how the attacker is working. So with AI as an attacker, we can automate some atomic red team test and really identify the potential attack paths that we have for our assets. And in short, what we are doing is we're giving AI. AI is doing nothing but just giving our red team some superpowers. So rather than having a team of 10, which is really unlikely in education sector, we are giving AI, and AI is adding some superpowers in what our team is already doing. Now, AI as an analyst. On the blue side, AI can actually parse and triage the SIEM alerts that we are getting really at scale. So it can map the detections to the attack techniques automatically, and it can identify the coverage gaps, spots where the attack would succeed, and also alert you where it did not fire any sort of alert. So basically, what we are doing, we are suggesting a rule improvement in real time, right there when you're doing the exercise, not waiting for a month to get the report. On the fly, we are creating the rules and we are creating the new detections. Now, AI as Scribe, as the people really underestimate this most, but documentation is very, very important for us. Whether it's purple teaming, red teaming, blue teaming, whatever it is, we need to have a proper documentation. And what we can do is we can auto document every TTP that was executed. We can generate after action reports for it. It can also produce a detection gap summaries, and we can basically draft a full remediation playbook. And that really takes a lot of time for the analysts, right? So we are now not wasting our time on the documentation. We are asking AI to do this stuff. Now, basically, how we are going to the AI purple team loop, how this is really working. So let me walk you through what I call the AI purple team loop. There are basically four stages that feed into one another continuously. So if you can see on the slide deck, one is feeding into two, two is feeding into three, and two to four. So the stage one, which is plan, basically AI maps your threat landscape. So you are telling AI that this is how my environment looks like. So I am in an education center. I have the student data. We have a university VPN. And now what it's going to do, it's going to plan for you. It's going to select the most relevant attack techniques for you in the context. And now you are not really guessing that, okay, now these are the TTPs that I should focus on, but you're basically utilizing AI to do that work for you. Before AI and before all of this, it was really a lot of manual work that the teams had to do. This planning itself would take around 2 to 3 weeks. Now this planning should be fast enough, right? Because we are using AI here. Now, attack. The red team executes the AI generated TTPs that we have used using Atomic Red Team. Atomic Red Team is free to use. You can use Atomic Red Team, and it would actually filter out the TTPs that you can use, and it has all the attack scenarios created. So now you are not making up this attack scenarios yourself. You're actually using the real world adversary behaviors that are mapped to your actual attack framework. Detect. The blue team is watching live. They are tuning their SIEM rules in real time, and AI is flagging the detection gap that as it emerges. So now, not a week later in the report, but right now, we are fixing. When I see that something goes undetected, I stop, I create the detection, I create the rule, I retest it again. I'm not waiting for another week, or I'm not waiting for 3 weeks, 4 weeks to fix some issue. I have to fix it now. Reporting, AI auto generate all the gap analysis and the remediation playbook, and the documentation would write for itself. Then again, the loop start. So you plan your next technique, you go deeper. So I just want to say here that AI doesn't just make purple teaming faster, it really make the silos visible. So once you see them, you can actually fix them. If you don't see it, you cannot fix it. So now we are not taking weeks to fix anything, we are fixing it on the go. Why it really matters for the education sector. So now you might be thinking that, okay, Marusha, that sounds very nice, and this could be something that Fortune 500 companies can do. But what about us? First thing, education is the number one most targeted sector for ransomware. So it's not finance, it is not healthcare, it is actually education sector. And it's really not hard to understand why. There are 30% of the breaches in education involves credential theft. So students, faculty, thousands of accounts, and with a lot of weak passwords and passwords that are reused in the systems, right? Then we have average detection time in education sector, which is around 72 hours. This is really 3 days. An attacker can exfiltrate anything. Now, why? And the challenges are unique for you because you have limited budget, you have lean teams. You might have two people doing the job that bank in a bank there would be 20 people doing it. There is, of course, open network because we have thousands of bring your own devices. Students bring their laptops, their yeah, all sort of devices. Students and researcher data should be protected under FERPA and GDPR for Europe, and legacy systems that simply cannot be patched. So I think that's a common problem, right? Now, the good news is that the purple teaming was actually made for you guys, and specifically the AI part of it, because what we have done is the low cost AI tools that are available has replaced the expensive red team vendors. The tabletop exercises using the AI generated scenarios can run with zero additional budget. So you don't need to have budget for any tabletop exercise, and you can actually go ahead and use AI to generate some of the scenarios. Students can also participate as part of their coursework, and really turning this security exercise into an educational experience could be a way to move forward. Now, let's come to really on the tools. Why and what tools can we use? So now let's concentrate. Here are the tools that I recommend. I've put the AI assisted purple team exercise, and everything that I've mentioned on this slide is free or open source. So the first tool that I've mentioned is Vector. This is basically our exercise management platform. So you can go in this platform, you can track your purple team sessions, you can log all of your TTPs that you have executed, you can measure what was the detections, what was the detection rate over time, and this is really Vector can be used as your scoreboard. Then we have Atomic Red Team. It's a product built by Red Canary. It's an organization, and it's a library of free real world adversity techniques. All of that is mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, and you can run a test. You can see what happens when you run that test, and you can actually log what it doesn't figure out. Then we have the very important tool, which is Claude and ChatGPT. So these are basically your AI engines. You can use them to generate different threat scenarios. You can parse a lot of alerts. You can do map findings to attack. It can actually suggest you some detection rules. It can write your report. And this is the AI as an attacker, AI as an analyst, and AI as in Scribe, all in one working together. Then we have Elastic SIEM. So it's free for education sector. Basically, what we are doing over here, we are correlating all the security events that are built, and then our blue team can actually use it for a real-time view to see what's happening across the network. Then the last tool that I have recommended is MITRE ATT&CK Navigator. Basically, you can use this tool as a heat map for your attack coverage. You can color code the techniques green where you think that you have nice detections, and you can mark red where you don't think that you got any sort of detections. And it's one of the most powerful one slide deliverable that you can hand over to your security management team or your security director. And honestly, for all these tools that I've mentioned over here, you don't need to have an extra budget. You don't need to have any sort of excuses. You can go ahead tomorrow, create your first purple team, and you can really get your work started. In the world of AI, things can go wrong. And I would be a bad person if I don't tell you that there could be some risk that are associated with AI purple teaming, which is AI hallucinations. So AI generated attack scenarios, which includes the TTPs, sound possible, but they can also be inaccurate. So before you are really executing anything in your environment, you have to validate it against the real attack framework. So don't just let AI write the test plan and build blind and just run blindly. So you need to know what it's writing, you need to understand it, and then you're going to move forward with it. Then we have a scope creep. So without really the clear rules of engagement, AI assisted attacks can execute on on a on an extended boundary, I would say. So you write down the scope before every exercise, make sure you're getting it signed, and be explicit about what systems are in scope and what is out of the scope. Why? Because the third point is data privacy. For the educational environments, the critical data lies there. So if you're feeding real log data, real student data, or you're even giving it real authentication logs into any commercial AI tool that is just freely available, you are actually violating FERPA or GDPR. So make sure you're using anonymized or synthetic data in your training scenarios here. Then over reliance on AI. AI is excellent at surfacing gaps. It is not really excellent when fixing the things really. So an AI generated remediation report could be a starting point for you, but it's not an ending point for you. So real remediations that we have requires real human judgment and real conversations and real follow up. So the bottom line really is that AI is a force multiplier. It's not a replacement of human judgment. We still need to have a great team in place, and it's not replacing your team, it's just boosting your team, or it's just multiplying the workforce. We still need human involvement over here because it's really some critical data that we are dealing with. So what can you do on the Monday morning? So once you leave from here, from this presentation, I don't want you to say the same thing next year that we don't have budget, we cannot do it. I think three things that we could do at least is to have a tabletop exercise. Why don't we just go ahead and open Claude or ChatGPT, whatever you are asking, and really ask them to create some realistic scenarios for our university environment, for our college environment, school environment, maybe regarding the credential theft, and use that scenario, get the red team and blue team in the same room. It can be even virtually, that doesn't matter, but get them together, walk through the scenarios together, and then map your findings to the attack framework. This is few hours of work which could be done. Then action number 2 is map your last incident. What was the last incident, security incident that happened? Now, go ahead, ask your LLM, your Claude GPT, whatever you have. Ask for the detection gap in the scenario. Take the answers back. Go back and plot that in the MITRE ATT&CK Navigator. As previously mentioned, it's a free tool. It's a heat map tool that you can use. Use that tool to answer and plot it. And then you will see what are the blind spots in a way that you have never seen it before. Action number 3 is schedule a joint debrief. Book one red blue debrief this quarter, just one of them. So use AI or don't use AI, it doesn't matter, but just have it set it up, get both the teams in the same room, they talk the same language, they are talking about the same exercise in the most single impactful first step that you guys can take. And then everything else will follow from those conversations. So, just really, once you are looking into the silos, if both the teams are coming together, you are understanding the silos. And then once you understand the silos, you cannot unsee them in future. So this is really a gift of purple teaming, and this is really required for us to come together and work together as a team. I did also wanted to put this hands-on lab for you guys, and I can later send a PDF that you can try on your own. So step one, generate a threat scenario. Take 15 minutes, generated. Step two, let's execute it with atomic red team exercise. If you just go ahead, write red canary, atomic red team, you will see that there are real adversaries, TTPs that are available. Do it in a VLAB environment, and let's see what your SIEM is firing at then. Let's see how the tool is reacting to it. Then map the coverage into attack navigator. uh, Search MITRE ATT&CK Navigator. There is a whole bunch of it. Then you can go ahead and put into your detections what was found, what was not found as red, what was detected as green. Change the colors, make sure that you're taking all the screenshots. These are all that management really want to see, right? And this is how you want to protect your environment. You need to see and you need to understand the gap that you have, and then generate the report. Again, you can for generating the report, you can use Vector, the tool that I mentioned previously, or you can just simply use ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever to write you a report. Just make sure you're not putting any confidential information in the LLM at all, because that is even worse.